it's interesting hearing from you folks. I've just come off of being one of the consumers of all of this as I'm a college freshman. And of course, we've been getting mountains of print material coming in the house for the past year and a half, and for the junior in high school, we'll be getting that soon too. And one of the things that's interesting to me is how do you folks coordinate with the folks who are printing, materials, coordinating that stuff, and how do you you try to find ways to help track what's performing out there? And are you also looking, you touched a little bit about mobile, but are you looking at ways to integrate with the print via QR codes and other technologies like that?
Sure. So in our admission office, we either do stuff in-house in our own print shop, or work very closely with vendors where we may even give them design and they write copy, or they're just the ones pushing out the mailing, so they can send multiple mailings and look at the lists. And I think it's interesting because a lot of what we've been doing over the past year is about trying to track all of the different marketing things that we're sending out. One of them being, with print, it's difficult to track that sometimes without just saying, oh, we'll slap a QR code on it, oh, build a vanity URL, and that's what you can do. I think what people lose sight of that sometimes is that possibly that mailed piece that's sitting on, maybe you can speak to this a little bit, but my assumption, and parents that I've talked to, if that's sitting on the kitchen table or on the refrigerator or something like that, even if they don't go to that site, but still putting that college's name in your head so you can say, oh, we should visit that school. And then it looks like the student just came for a visit and that's the big indicator, but it may be that first initial contact that's sitting there in front of their face that at least told you what Emerson College is. And that's the tough part to try to convince people because the numbers aren't there. You can't track that unless you're surveying. But what we're trying to do is find more ways to lead them, like I talked about before, lead them into web forms, lead them into areas where we can know the success of some of those mail pieces that we send out.
So part of Harvard University's digital strategy this year was to produce a hardbound photo book. So part of the reason we did that was so many people saw our photos that are featured on Harvard.edu and the Gazette, and parents and students were saying to us, is there a way we can get some of those? So if we're doing postcards or photo books, it was interesting to me, to your point of that people want multiple touch points, and unfortunately sometimes they want ones that are really unmeasurable. But I think, universities are working, we're certainly working more closely with admissions to understand through those multiple touch points of the ones we can measure, how much can we understand.